Stop. Whatever you're doing, drop it now. This might be the most important video you'll ever watch. What if everything you've been told about death is completely wrong? Imagine an ancient, forbidden text. One that doesn't just speculate about what happens after you die, but guides you through the entire process. A text so powerful, so detailed, that missing just one crucial moment could mean the difference between freedom and eternal entrapment. Today, we're unlocking the secrets of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, a sacred manuscript over 1,000 years old that reveals the hidden pathways of existence. This is not just a book. It's a map, and if you truly understand it, it could change everything. How you live, how you die, and what you believe about life itself. But be warned, once you hear this, there's no going back. Are you ready to uncover the ultimate truth? The mystery no one has solved. For all of humanity's scientific breakthroughs and technological advancements, one mystery remains as elusive as ever. What happens when we die? The irony? We're no closer to an answer than the monks of ancient Tibet. Maybe that's why this text continues to captivate scholars, seekers, and even scientists, because it makes an extraordinary claim. Consciousness doesn't end at death. Instead, it embarks on a journey through unseen dimensions, each offering a chance at liberation or rebirth. And here's where things take a bizarre turn. These ancient descriptions bear an uncanny resemblance to modern near-death experiences. People who have come back from the brink of death often describe a blinding light, encounters with mystical beings, a profound sense of peace and clarity. Is this just coincidence? Or are these glimpses into a reality science has yet to comprehend? And more importantly, what if this book holds the key to unlocking not just the mystery of death, but the very nature of consciousness itself? A manual for the living, not just the dead. But here's the part no one talks about. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just about death. Its real power lies in what it can teach us about life. By forcing us to confront the impermanence of everything, it challenges us to live with intention, clarity, and purpose, things most of us never truly embrace. Because this isn't just a guide for the dying, it's a wake-up call for the living. And if you're feeling a mix of intrigue and unease, that's exactly the effect it was meant to have. So keep an open mind as we go deeper, because to fully grasp the weight of this ancient wisdom, we need to explore its origins and the visionary mind that gave it to the world. Are you ready? Let's begin. The Bardos, Gateways Between Worlds. What if I told you this isn't just a book about the afterlife? What if it's actually a roadmap, one designed to guide anyone through the most profound transitions of existence? At the heart of this ancient text lies a concept called the bardo. In Tibetan Buddhism, a bardo is not just the space between death and rebirth. It's any moment of profound change, any point where the old dissolves and the new has yet to take shape. Think about your own life. How many times have you found yourself caught between two realities? Uncertain, waiting for what comes next. These moments of change and uncertainty, that's a bardo. But here's where the Tibetan Book of the Dead unveils its deepest secret. There isn't just one bardo. There are three, each one a different realm of consciousness, each one a test, an opportunity for freedom or entrapment. Are you ready to step inside? The first bardo, the moment of death. The first bardo begins the instant you die. But forget what you think you know about death. Because in this tradition, death is not the end. It's the beginning. Imagine a blinding flash of pure awareness, as if all the deepest truths of the universe are being downloaded into your consciousness at once. For those who are prepared, this is a moment of liberation, a chance to merge with infinite reality. For those who aren't, confusion sets in, and the journey continues. The second bardo, the realm of visions. Next comes the second bardo, a realm of visions and illusions. Picture incredible, otherworldly landscapes, figures of awe-inspiring beauty, and terrifying, nightmarish entities. But here's the shocking part. None of it is real. These aren't external forces. They are projections of your own consciousness. Everything you see here, every light, every shadow, every god or demon is a reflection of your own mind. Recognize this and you can wake up, transcending the illusion. Fail to see through it, and the cycle continues. The third bardo, the threshold of rebirth. Finally, we enter the third bardo, the threshold of rebirth. Here, stripped of physical form, your consciousness stands at the crossroads of existence. Every thought, every craving, every attachment, it all shapes your next incarnation. Here, you're faced with a choice, one that will determine the next chapter of your soul's journey. But what if you could escape this cycle entirely? What if you could use this knowledge to wake up, freeing yourself from illusion, and step into a higher state of being? Because this is the ultimate secret of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's not just about preparing for death. It's about mastering life itself. And this is where the Tibetan Book of the Dead reveals its most profound truth. You don't have to wait until the moment of death to experience these states. Every single day of your life contains transitions, mini bardas, moments where everything shifts, giving you an opportunity for spiritual awakening. That strange disorientation when you wake up, caught between dream and reality, a glimpse of the bardo, the rare instances when time vanishes and you become completely lost in creativity or deep focus. You're touching the edge of the bardo of visions, and those life-altering crossroads, the moments when you're weighing different paths, uncertain of what comes next, that's your personal bardo of rebirth. Each of these moments mirrors the transitions of death, and learning to navigate them while alive might be the key to mastering the journey beyond. Now, as we stand on the precipice of this ancient wisdom, it's time to go even deeper. What really happens in that final moment when life begins to slip away? Brace yourself, we're about to step into the first bardo, the moment of death, where the greatest opportunity for freedom awaits. The first bardo, the moment of death. Picture this. You're standing at the very edge of existence. In front of you, a light, brilliant beyond anything you've ever seen, pulsing with something indescribable, as if it holds the secrets of the entire universe. Behind you, the echoes of your life, dissolving like mist, slipping away beyond your grasp. You are no longer bound by a body. You are pure awareness. According to Tibetan Buddhist wisdom, death is not an ending. It is a passage, a doorway into the deepest mysteries of existence. And the first thing you encounter? The clear light. This isn't just any light. It's described as a blinding, infinite radiance. Not external, but the purest reflection of your own consciousness. This is you in your truest form. But here's the shocking part. Most people fail to recognize it. The ultimate test of awareness. The Tibetan teachings say that at the moment of death, if you can recognize this light as your own true essence, you can achieve instant enlightenment. In that single moment of clarity, you have the chance to break free, to escape the cycle of birth and rebirth and step into ultimate liberation. No more suffering, no more illusion, just pure, boundless freedom. But this moment is fleeting, gone in the blink of an eye. For those unprepared, the brilliance of the clear light can be overwhelming, even terrifying. Rather than embracing it, they pull away, feeling as though they are being swallowed by something vast and unknown. Fear takes over, and the moment is lost. Instead of merging with enlightenment, their consciousness retreats, slipping further into the next bardas, where the mind's own illusions take control. What this means for you? This ancient teaching reveals a hidden truth, one that completely reframes the way we think about life and death. At the very last moment of existence, you're given a final test, a last opportunity for awakening greater than any other moment you've ever experienced. And yet, most people fail. Why? Because they have never trained their minds to recognize the truth. This is why Tibetan monks and spiritual practitioners dedicate entire lifetimes to meditation and awareness, to prepare for this single, fleeting moment. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. You don't have to wait until death to experience the clear light. Training for liberation while alive. The Bardo Thodol teaches that through deep meditation, breathwork, and spiritual practice, you can glimpse the clear light while still alive. Think of these moments as rehearsals, a way to train your consciousness so that when the final test arrives, you won't be caught off guard. This is why practices like heavy checkmark mindfulness, staying present in each moment, heavy checkmark meditation, learning to observe thoughts without attachment, heavy checkmark lucid dreaming, recognizing illusions in sleep, are not just for relaxation or focus. They are literally training your mind to see through illusion so that when the real moment comes, you'll know exactly what to do. Imagine being able to face death not with fear, but with confidence, knowing that you're prepared to embrace the ultimate freedom. But for many, the journey doesn't end here. For those who miss the clear light, the mind begins its descent into the deeper bardos. And here, the illusions take form. Visions, sounds, and experiences more vivid than anything we can imagine. Some peaceful, some terrifying, but all of them are reflections of the mind itself. And in the next part of this journey, we will step into these hidden realms, where reality itself begins to dissolve. Are you ready to venture deeper? The Bardo of Visions, confronting the mind's illusions. So what happens when the clear light fades? For those unprepared to recognize it, consciousness is pulled into the next stage, the Bardo of Visions. And here's where things get surreal. Imagine waking up in a dream, but this dream is unlike anything you've ever experienced. Colors more vivid than reality. Sounds that resonate through your entire being. Forms that shift and change before your eyes. You're no longer in the world you once knew. Instead, you are face to face with the contents of your own mind. The mind's projections, a journey through light and shadow. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes this phase as a realm where powerful visions unfold before you. Some divine, others terrifying. But here's the hidden truth. None of these visions are external. They aren't gods or demons coming to judge you. They are projections of your own mind, reflecting the deepest layers of your consciousness. The peaceful visions? They arise from the kindness, wisdom, and clarity you've cultivated in life. The terrifying ones? They are your fears, attachments, and regrets, taking form before your eyes. The key to escaping these illusions? Realizing that none of them have power over you. But here's where most fail. Gripped by fear, they believe these visions are real. They run from the terrifying figures, they chase after the beautiful ones, and in doing so, they fall deeper into the illusions, spiraling further into the cycle of rebirth. A test of awareness. Think about what this means. Every thought, action, and emotion you experience in life is shaping what you'll encounter in this state. Your fears don't disappear when you die. Your attachments don't fade. Your desires don't vanish. Instead, they manifest in front of you larger than life. Now imagine going through this experience without any preparation, without any understanding of what's happening. It would be overwhelming, but Tibetan teachings offer a different path. What if, instead of being trapped in these illusions, you could recognize them for what they truly are? What if, when faced with a terrifying vision, instead of reacting with fear, you simply observe it and let it pass? This is the key to navigating the Bardo of Visions. Because when you realize that everything you see is an illusion, you gain control. You become lucid in death, just as one can become lucid in a dream. And this awareness can set you free. The hidden link between death and dreams. This concept might remind you of lucid dreaming, when you become aware that you're dreaming and can control the experience. And that's no coincidence. The Tibetan teachings suggest that dreaming and dying are closely connected. In fact, training yourself to become aware in dreams is one of the best ways to prepare for the bardos. Think about it. If you can realize within a dream that what you're experiencing isn't real, you'll have a much greater chance of realizing the same thing after death. This is why Tibetan monks practice dream yoga, a discipline where they train themselves to remain conscious even as they sleep, preparing themselves for the moment they enter the bardo. And here's where it gets even more mind-blowing. If death is like a dream, then that means life is too. The illusions that trap us after death are the same ones that keep us stuck in suffering during life. Fear, attachment, desire, they control us here and now, just as they do in the bardos. So if you learn to see through illusion while alive, you won't have to wait until death to wake up. You can free yourself now. The bardo of becoming, the cycle begins again. For those who still don't recognize the illusions in the bardo of visions, there is one final stage, the bardo of becoming. At this point, the journey is nearing its end. The choices have been made. Consciousness is no longer free to merge with enlightenment, and instead, it begins to drift toward rebirth. Here, the mind clings to its past identity. Memories from life start to fade, yet the core of one's consciousness seeks out a new form. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes visions of future parents, moments where consciousness is drawn toward the circumstances of its next life. And just like that, the cycle continues. The past forgotten, the lessons unlearned. The wheel of samsara turns once again. Unless you wake up, unless you recognize the truth before the cycle completes itself. Because even here, at the very edge of rebirth, there is still one final chance. If one realizes that this entire process has been an illusion, there is still hope for liberation. And that realization is not just for the dying. It's for you right now, because the same forces that shape our death shape our life. And if you learn to free yourself from illusion in this moment, you won't need to wait until the final breath to find freedom. You can begin today. A final thought. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just about what happens when we die. It's a manual for life itself. It's a call to wake up, to recognize the illusions now, so that when the final moment arrives, we'll be ready. Because the truth is, we die every day. Every time we let go of an old belief. Every time we shed a past version of ourselves. Every time we step into the unknown. And each of these moments is an opportunity to resist change and stay asleep, or to embrace it and wake up. Which will you choose? The journey doesn't end here. If this video resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're ready to go even deeper, make sure to watch our next video, where we explore how these ancient teachings can help you navigate the transitions of life itself. Thank you for watching, and remember, every moment is a doorway. Will you step through? And now, you find yourself in what seems like a cosmic theater, a stage of unimaginable intensity. Ethereal figures of radiant brilliance and shadowy entities of staggering power surround you. But here's the truth that changes everything. They're not separate from you. These beings are mirrors. They are the living reflections of everything you've ever felt, feared, or desired. Every suppressed emotion, every unhealed wound, every longing you've ever buried deep inside. This is the bardo of visions, where the subconscious manifests on a scale beyond comprehension. Are you ready to face yourself? At this stage, the mind encounters divine beings and fearsome entities, each revealing the essence of what you carry within. The bardo of visions doesn't merely display beauty or horror. It forces you to confront the truth of your existence. The peaceful deities embody your highest, most enlightened qualities. The wisdom, compassion, and serenity within you. The wrathful figures, fierce and unrelenting, represent the parts of yourself that you've denied. The anger, attachment, and fears that remain unresolved. Each of these forms is asking you a single question. Will you recognize them as aspects of yourself, or will you shrink back in fear, facing the divine and the demonic? First, you are met with luminous beings, radiant with peace, glowing with an otherworldly serenity. They extend their hands, inviting you into the clarity of awareness, where all suffering dissolves and ultimate understanding is within reach. You may encounter the Buddha of infinite light, a symbol of boundless wisdom, or an overwhelming brilliance that mirrors the untapped potential of your own mind. This isn't just a peaceful encounter, it's a challenge, because to truly merge with this divine presence, you must accept that this light is your own. Can you embrace the idea that you are already enlightened? If you can, the journey ends here. Liberation is achieved. But for most, the truth is too overwhelming. The ego resists, retreating in fear. The vision begins to shift. The light dims, and now the divine faces become fierce. The wrathful beings, confronting the shadow. Suddenly, the world around you transforms. The once gentle figures now burn with intensity, their faces contorted with fury, their voices echoing with thunderous force. They are not here to harm you. They are aspects of your own mind, made visible in their most extreme forms. The supreme being of wrath, with his many arms and flaming eyes, does not appear to punish you. He appears to force you to confront what you've avoided. Your anger, your attachments, your deepest regrets. These terrifying forms challenge you. Will you reject them, or will you finally accept them as part of yourself? The purpose of these encounters isn't torment, it's liberation. Because the peaceful and wrathful forms are two sides of the same truth. They are you. The Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches that these entities aren't external beings. They are manifestations of your own mind, bringing to the surface what has been hidden. They reveal everything that has shaped your existence. Every thought, every emotion, every attachment that has defined your reality. This is a moment of reckoning. A confrontation with the self so raw, so undeniable, that it has the power to free you from lifetimes of karmic patterns, if you can face it with awareness. Why this matters in life. But here's the thing, this isn't just about death. Because what you encounter in the bardo of visions is everything you carry within you, right now. These experiences aren't just waiting for you in the afterlife. They are shaping your reality at this very moment. Every day you live with these forces. Every decision is influenced by these hidden aspects of yourself. Every emotion you suppress, every fear you deny, still exists, whether you acknowledge them or not. This bardo is a challenge not just for the dead, but for the living. What if you started confronting these forces now? What if, instead of running from fear, anger, and insecurity, you saw them for what they are, opportunities to grow, to transform, to wake up? Carl Jung, Tibetan Wisdom and the Hidden Self. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung spent his life exploring this exact idea. He believed that the gods and demons of the Tibetan Book of the Dead weren't supernatural beings, they were archetypes of the human psyche. He wrote, "Gods and demons are projections of the unconscious, powerful and inescapable, until understood as parts of ourselves." Think about what this means. The forces you fear the most aren't external. They already exist within you, and until you recognize them, they will continue to control your life. These are not just visions for the afterlife. These are the subconscious forces driving your choices right now. The bardo of visions is happening every day. In the moments of rage you don't understand, in the fears you can't shake, in the dreams and desires that seem just out of reach. So here's the question. Can you look at your own darkness and see it with compassion? Can you face your fears, your anger, your insecurities, without letting them define you? Because this is the key to breaking free. This is how you move beyond illusion. The ultimate test, seeing through the illusion. But here's the warning. For those who fail to recognize these figures as their own projections, the experience becomes a nightmare. The mind, unable to comprehend that everything it sees is a reflection of itself, begins to mistake these visions for external threats. Panic sets in. Terror takes hold. And just like that, the opportunity for liberation is lost. Instead of breaking free, consciousness spirals deeper. trapped in illusions of fear, unable to wake up. But it doesn't have to be this way. If you can recognize these figures as your own mind made manifest, you gain control. You become lucid in death, just as one can become lucid in a dream. And this is the secret. If you can wake up in the bardo of visions, you can wake up in life itself. Because the same illusions that trap us after death are the same illusions that keep us trapped while living. So the real question isn't, what happens when I die? The real question is, can I wake up now? The next step, the bardo of becoming. For those who fail to recognize the truth, there is still one final stage, the bardo of becoming. This is where consciousness drifts toward rebirth, drawn by the echoes of past desires, attachments, and regrets. And once again, the cycle continues. Unless you wake up, unless you realize the truth before the cycle completes itself. Because in the final moments, there is still one last chance for liberation. But will you see it? Or will you fall back into illusion, only to start again? The choice isn't just for the dying. It's for you right now. Because death isn't the only bardo. Life is a bardo too. And if you can wake up here, you won't have to wait until the end. You can start your liberation today. Delusion or awakening, the final test. If you fail to recognize the truth within the bardo of visions, the descent continues. Bound by your attachments and fears, unable to confront the raw reality of your subconscious, you spiral further into the unknown. This stage isn't just an eerie reflection of your mind. It's a crucial opportunity to break free from illusion. But if fear takes hold, if you recoil from what is revealed, then the journey only grows darker. Ask yourself, can you face your own soul, stripped of all illusion? Can you confront the divine mirror and accept everything that appears? Because the next phase plunges even deeper, and the choices made here will shape the very essence of your existence. The bardo of rebirth, the moment of destiny. Imagine floating in an endless, formless void. The life you knew is gone, distant, fading like a dream upon waking. And yet, something is pulling you forward. A force as strong as gravity, drawing you toward something new. You have now entered the bardo of rebirth, the final stage before returning to the cycle of life and death. Here, every unresolved emotion, every lingering attachment, every karmic imprint becomes a guiding force. Your consciousness, stripped bare of its physical form, is now a magnet, pulling in the elements that will shape your next existence. The stakes have never been higher, because this isn't some passive drift through the afterlife. This is an intense, chaotic process of creation. In this realm, you are both the creator and the creation, painting the blueprint for your next incarnation. Every action you've taken, every thought you've entertained, every intention you've set, now comes to life as the forces shaping your rebirth. The echoes of karma, what will you see? Surrounding you is a whirlwind of visions, faces, landscapes, entire worlds flashing before your eyes. These aren't random illusions. They are the sum of everything you've carried within you. If you've cultivated wisdom, kindness, and clarity, the visions are bright, inviting, leading you toward a life filled with opportunity and purpose. If fear, anger, or attachment dominate, the images twist into turbulent, chaotic landscapes, pulling you toward lives filled with struggle and confusion. Each potential future is tugging at you, calling you toward it, aligning with the frequency of your current state of mind. There is no external force deciding where you will go. This is the ultimate mirror, showing you the direct consequences of your choices, thoughts, and emotions. And here is where the most critical test of all unfolds. The choices you make in this moment will determine where your soul lands next. Your mind has now become a cosmic compass, guiding you toward whichever reality you resonate with the most. Imagine standing at the eye of a storm, emotions swirling wildly around you. Can you remain calm? Can you center yourself in clarity, anchoring your soul in awareness? Or will you be swept away, pulled into another cycle of birth and death, repeating the same karmic lessons until you finally awaken? The doorways of fate. Where will you go? The visions within the bardo of rebirth aren't just distant images, they are doorways, portals into realms that vibrate with the energy of your consciousness. Every possibility is laid before you, each life a reflection of the karmic energy you've accumulated. This is like watching a cinematic reel of your possible futures, playing before your very eyes. At the center of each doorway, one question remains. Will you step through blindly, trapped in the pull of past attachments? Or will you pause, recognize the illusion, and choose with awareness? The Tibetan teachings reveal a powerful truth. You don't choose your next life like selecting a destination on a map. Instead, your karma chooses for you. Your actions, thoughts, and emotions generate a gravitational pull, aligning you with a realm that matches your deepest state of being. Your conscious mind isn't fully in control here, but there is still one last sliver of choice. A fleeting window of clarity, where the power of detachment can set you free. If you can remain lucid in this final stage, if you can see through the illusions of attachment and fear, you may still transcend the pull altogether. The ultimate reminder, why this matters now. The bardo of rebirth isn't just a mystical teaching about the afterlife. It's a wake-up call for how you live your life right now. Because every choice you make, every emotion you cultivate, every habit you reinforce, they don't disappear when you die. They become the energy that shapes your future. And here's the real lesson hidden within these ancient texts. You don't have to wait until death to wake up. You are already creating your next reality, moment by moment. You are already choosing your rebirth with every thought, every action, every desire. So the question is, what reality are you shaping right now? Because this isn't just about preparing for death. It's about waking up in life. It's about recognizing that the same forces that shape your afterlife are shaping your present reality. If fear and attachment control you now, they will control you in death. If you lack clarity now, you will lack it in the bardo. If you don't seek liberation now, you won't find it when the moment of rebirth arrives. The Tibetan teachings aren't just about guiding souls through death. They are about living with awareness so that when the time comes, you don't just react blindly to the forces of karma. You see through the illusion, you recognize the doorways before you, and you choose with clarity. Because in the end, the real secret of the Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't about what happens after you die. It's about learning how to wake up before you ever leave this world. The bardo of rebirth, the power of every choice. What if every act of kindness, every moment of awareness, was shaping not just this life but countless lives ahead? The bardo of rebirth forces us to confront a profound reality. We are constantly creating the future of our souls. Our choices don't just influence today. They ripple into eternity, sculpting the journey that follows. But here's the question. If you're stuck in cycles of fear, anger, or attachment, how do you break free? Tibetan Buddhism teaches that true transformation doesn't come from simply avoiding bad actions or striving to be good. It comes from deep self-awareness, seeing the root of our thoughts and behaviors, recognizing what drives us, and choosing to respond with clarity instead of impulse. The more conscious you become in life, the less likely you are to be swept away in the bardo of rebirth when the time comes. Because karma, as the ancient teachings reveal, is not a system of reward and punishment. It's a reflection of the energies we create, mirrored back through the fabric of existence. In this way, every moment of presence, every act of mindfulness, is a step toward liberation. The ultimate lesson of the third bardo is clear. The power to shape your reality isn't something that happens only in death. It's happening right now in every choice you make. So take a moment, look at your life. How much of it is shaped by unconscious patterns, by reactions instead of intention? How often do you act out of habit or fear rather than awareness? The bardo of rebirth is a reminder that every moment is an opportunity, a chance to shift the course of your soul's journey. If you could alter your next life today, what would you change? And more importantly, how will you begin shaping that reality right now? Training for the final journey, a different way to live. Imagine preparing for death not as an end, but as the most important transition you will ever make. Not something to fear, but an incredible opportunity for transformation. This isn't just a poetic idea. In Tibetan Buddhism, life is a training ground, where every breath, every thought, every action is practice for that ultimate moment of transition. So what if you could learn to navigate death the same way you learn to navigate life? What if every time you practice mindfulness, you were actually training your soul for its greatest adventure? Tibetan wisdom offers powerful techniques that guide not just the dying, but the living, helping them cultivate the clarity, courage, and awareness needed to face the unknown. One of the most extraordinary practices is consciousness transference, the ability to direct the mind at the moment of death, aiming it toward enlightenment instead of confusion. This isn't about clinging to life or fearing the end. It's about letting go with intention, directing your awareness beyond this world, rather than being passively carried away by unconscious forces. Could this ancient technique be the key to achieving peace and freedom, no matter what life brings? Daily practices that reshape your life, but you don't have to wait until your final breath to prepare. Right now, there are simple but powerful ways to cultivate awareness, shaping not just how you live, but how you will one day leave this world. Start with a daily meditation on impermanence, a practice that shifts your entire perception of reality. Recognizing that life is fleeting doesn't make it meaningless. It makes every moment more vivid, every choice more intentional. Imagine approaching each day not with dread, but with the realization that every experience is rare, unrepeatable, and sacred. This shift in awareness brings clarity, resilience, and purpose, so that when the final moment does come, you meet it with peace instead of fear. Another transformative practice is Tunglen, a Tibetan meditation on compassion. Picture yourself breathing in the suffering of others, then breathing out love and healing in return. At first, this may sound counterintuitive, but it's a radical way to dissolve self-centeredness, to see beyond the boundaries of individual existence and embrace the interconnectedness of all beings. Because when it comes time to face the visions of the afterlife, a heart that is trained in compassion can transform fear into freedom. And then, there are mantras, sacred sound vibrations that have been chanted for thousands of years, not just as words, but as frequencies that tune the mind to higher awareness. Think of them as sonic keys, harmonizing your consciousness with the rhythms of the universe. These sounds are not just prayers. They are mental training tools, preparing the mind for the bardos of both life and death. By chanting mantras daily, you build mental clarity and focus, reinforcing the ability to face transitions, both in this life and beyond, with calm and wisdom. Living with the end in mind, a different way to see the world. When you start living with awareness of death, something remarkable happens. You begin to live more fully. Every action gains meaning. Every interaction feels more significant. The petty worries of life start to fade, replaced by a sense of clarity and purpose. And this is the real power of Tibetan teachings. They aren't just about guiding the dead. They are about waking up the living. When you know that every action matters, that every moment is shaping your soul's journey, you are no longer at the mercy of fear, doubt, or uncertainty. Instead, you are empowered, calm, ready, knowing that whatever comes next, you have the tools to face it with strength and grace. So the question is, how will you begin preparing today? A different perspective on death. What if we embraced it instead? Imagine if society took a different approach to death, not as something to fear, but as a profound teacher. Instead of avoiding it, we could face it head-on, allowing it to shape how we live, inspiring us to be more present, more courageous, more aware. For Tibetan Buddhists, death isn't an enemy. It's the ultimate transition, a natural part of the journey. What if adopting this philosophy could actually lead to a life with less fear and greater joy? What if the key to true freedom in life was in accepting, rather than resisting, the inevitable? And here's the most astonishing part. These teachings aren't just for monks meditating in distant monasteries. They're available to anyone. So why wait? Why not start today? Embracing these practices doesn't just transform how you approach the end, it transforms every single moment leading up to it. And that leads to the ultimate question. How will you prepare for this journey? More importantly, how will it change the way you live right now? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. A sacred guide at the moment of death. Now imagine this. You're lying on your deathbed, surrounded by loved ones. The room is filled with quiet whispers, the weight of final goodbyes. But then, instead of silence, a sacred voice begins to guide you. A voice whispering the secrets of a journey no one else can see. These aren't just words of comfort. They're a map, a guide through the afterlife, a chance to break free from the endless cycle of rebirth. This isn't fiction. This is the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Bardo Thodol, used for centuries as a tool for conscious dying. How Tibetan monasteries approach death differently. Picture a scene deep in the Himalayas. A Tibetan monastery, where the air is thick with incense and prayer. Here, when someone is nearing the end, a lama, a highly trained spiritual guide, sits beside them, reading aloud from the Bardo Thodol. Every word is deliberate, painting vivid landscapes of the journey ahead. But this isn't just a ritual. It's an orientation for the soul, a roadmap through realms that most people never even imagine. In Tibetan culture, death isn't just managed clinically. It's prepared for with great care, treated as the most important journey of all. Contrast this with modern society, where death is often avoided, feared, and spoken about in hushed tones, where the focus is on keeping someone comfortable rather than guiding them through the transition. But in Tibet, the Bardo Thodol serves as a spiritual compass, helping the soul navigate through the visions, lights, and beings that appear in the afterlife. The mind creates the afterlife. Now, here's the part that changes everything. The intense visions of the afterlife, blinding lights, serene deities, and fearsome beings, aren't what they seem. These aren't external forces. They are projections of your own mind, mirrors reflecting everything you've ever carried within you. And the guide? They're there to help you recognize this, to remind you not to panic, to keep you centered as your own subconscious takes shape before you. Can you imagine having someone by your side during this journey, whispering the truth, keeping you from being overwhelmed by your own thoughts? The most important instructions for the dying. At the moment of death, the guide begins their sacred duty. As the clear light of awareness emerges, they encourage the dying person not to fear it. They remind them, backhand index pointing right, this light is not something separate from you. It is your true nature. If the soul can recognize the light as its own essence, liberation is possible. But if fear takes over, if the mind doesn't recognize the truth, the journey shifts. The visions change, revealing the next stage. The peaceful deities, the terrifying wrathful figures, each representing the deepest layers of the subconscious. The guide is there to gently remind the soul. Backhand index pointing right, these beings are not here to punish or judge you. Backhand index pointing right, they are reflections of your mind, pieces of yourself waiting to be understood. Every step of the journey is explained, from the most serene encounters to the most overwhelming forces. And the goal? To keep the soul calm, aware, and ready to make the ultimate choice, to merge with the light or to continue the cycle of rebirth. A final thought. Now, take a moment and think, what if death isn't something to be feared, but something to be prepared for? What if it's not just an ending, but an opportunity, perhaps the greatest of all? The Tibetan Book of the Dead offers a radical perspective, one that doesn't just change how we die but completely transforms how we live. So I leave you with this question: how would your life change if you truly embraced the reality of death? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this journey resonated with you, make sure to subscribe for more deep explorations into ancient wisdom and the mysteries of existence. Because the more we understand death, the more fully we can live. Rethinking death, a path to liberation instead of fear. Imagine if your perception of death shifted. If, instead of fearing it, you saw it as an opportunity for insight and transformation. What if, rather than something to be avoided, it became a gateway to deeper understanding? In Western cultures, death is often treated as a purely medical process, something clinical, something to be managed rather than explored. But in Tibetan Buddhism, death is as much a spiritual journey as it is a physical one. This perspective forces us to reimagine our entire approach to the end of life. Now, picture this. Instead of viewing death as a terrifying plunge into the unknown, what if it was something you had prepared for? A transition you understood, embraced, and even welcomed? This is what the Tibetan Book of the Dead offers. It's not just an ancient text. It's a companion, a guide that dissolves the boundaries between life and death, showing the way forward. And you might be asking, can these ancient teachings really apply to my modern life? Here's the truth. You don't have to be a Tibetan monk to benefit from these lessons. By simply living with more intention, practicing mindfulness, and seeing every moment as preparation for life's ultimate transition, you can transform the way you experience both living and dying. What if, instead of pushing away the thought of death, you embraced it as a teacher? Imagine the freedom of knowing that when the final moment comes, you won't face it with fear, but with clarity, peace, and acceptance. As we continue exploring the profound wisdom of the Bardo Thodol, let it remind you that life and death are not separate. They are intertwined. To learn how to die well is to learn how to live fearlessly. So ask yourself, how would your life change if you saw each day as preparation for the ultimate journey? How would you live if you knew you were ready to meet death? Not with dread, but with a profound sense of understanding and inner peace. The hidden truth: death teaches us how to live. What if I told you that embracing death could unlock a deeper sense of purpose, clarity, and even joy? Imagine waking up each day fully aware that this breath might be your last. How would that change the way you treat others? The way you pursue your dreams? The way you experience every moment? The Tibetan Book of the Dead is more than a guide for the dying. It's a radical roadmap for how to truly live. In today's world, death is often seen as taboo, something to be avoided, feared, or ignored. But what if avoiding it is exactly what's holding us back from living with authenticity and depth? This ancient wisdom invites us to turn toward death instead of away from it, using it not as a source of anxiety, but as a tool for transformation. Because when you fully grasp the impermanence of life, everything changes. Petty concerns fade. What truly matters comes into focus. Now, imagine applying this awareness not just at the moment of death, but in everyday life. Tibetan monks treat every transition, every breakup, every job loss, every period of uncertainty as a bardo, a state between the old and the new. They see these moments not as obstacles, but as opportunities for rebirth and growth. What if you could do the same, living every day as a sacred practice? So, how do we bring this wisdom into our daily lives? It begins with a simple but profound shift in awareness. 1. Meditate on impermanence. Tibetan practitioners start each day by reminding themselves of life's fleeting nature. This is not meant to create fear, it's meant to bring focus. Imagine waking up each morning with the thought, "Cyclone, this day is precious. Every moment matters." How would that change your priorities? How would it shape your decisions? This daily reflection is a powerful way to break free from distraction and fully embrace the present moment. 2. The exchange of energy Tunglen practice. One of the most profound Tibetan practices is the exchange of suffering for compassion. Here's how it works. So with each inhale, you imagine taking in the pain and struggles of others. With each exhale, you send out love, healing, and peace. At first, this may seem counterintuitive. Why would you want to breathe in suffering? But in doing so, you train your heart to open rather than contract in the face of pain. And when the time comes to let go of this life, imagine the peace of knowing that you've lived with an open heart, that you've embraced every moment fully. 3. Recognizing the clear light of awareness. Tibetan teachings emphasize moments of pure awareness, those fleeting instants when everything feels crystal clear. When you're deeply engaged in the present moment, you're already touching the awareness described in the Bardas. Backhand index pointing right, that feeling of timelessness in meditation. Backhand index pointing right, that sense of peace while looking at a sunset. Backhand index pointing right, that moment of clarity during deep reflection. Every time you experience this depth of awareness, you're training yourself for the ultimate transition. Now, imagine carrying this clarity into your everyday life, while working, talking, facing challenges. How might it change the way you respond to stress, the way you engage with others, the way you experience life itself? A final thought, from existing to truly living. By embracing these teachings, you aren't just preparing for death. You're transforming how you live right now. Life stops being something that just happens to you. Instead, it becomes something you shape, you experience fully, you embrace with intention. Imagine this shift from simply existing to truly living. What if you treated each breath as if it were your last? Would your relationships deepen? Would your fears lose their grip? Would you start to feel the vastness of every moment? This is what Tibetan wisdom offers us. Not just a way to die better, but a way to live fearlessly with clarity, purpose, and presence. So, I ask you, how would your life change if you truly embraced the reality of death? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this message resonates with you, subscribe for more deep dives into ancient wisdom and the mysteries of existence. Because the truth is, Cyclone, the more we understand death, the more fully we can live. Unlocking life's ultimate truth, a radical shift in awareness. Imagine the freedom that comes with truly embracing the reality of death, not as an end, but as the key to living fully. What if, by confronting your deepest fears about mortality, you could unlock a life richer, deeper, and more meaningful than anything you've ever known? The Tibetan Book of the Dead offers a radical invitation to live with the same clarity, intensity, and presence that we bring to our final moments. So, what if you started seeing every decision, every conversation, every breath as a sacred opportunity for awakening? What if, instead of drifting through your days, you lived as though this were your last, fully immersed in the present, unburdened by fear? Get ready, because we're about to uncover how this ancient wisdom can become your ultimate guide, not just for dying, but for living with fearless passion and purpose. Ancient wisdom meets modern science, a mind-blowing revelation. Now, imagine for a moment that 1,000-year-old Tibetan text could provide answers to some of the biggest questions in modern science. Small blue diamond, what is consciousness? Small blue diamond, can the mind exist beyond the body? Small blue diamond, and if it can, what does that mean for how we live today? This isn't some mystical fantasy. It's a real frontier of exploration, one that's drawing the attention of scientists, philosophers, and psychologists who once reserved their curiosity for lab experiments and brain scans. And here's where it gets truly revolutionary. What if the Tibetan Book of the Dead was right all along? What if consciousness doesn't simply vanish at death, but transcends the body, traveling through realms beyond our current understanding? If this is true, it changes everything. It means that the journey of the mind doesn't end with the body, it evolves. And if that's the case, then what we call death isn't an end at all. It's a doorway to a greater understanding of our own awareness. Here's where it gets even more mind-blowing. We don't have to wait until we die to access these deeper states of consciousness. These hidden dimensions aren't just part of the afterlife. They exist within us right now. The Bardo teachings reveal that we can train our minds in life to navigate the unseen realms that await us in death. This is why Tibetan monks dedicate years, even lifetimes, to mastering awareness, because they believe that death isn't a thing to fear, but a process to master. Think about that for a second. If we knew for certain that death was just another state of consciousness, would we live differently? Would we spend more time worrying about material success, or about deepening our understanding of who we truly are? This is the frontier of human understanding, where ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science are converging to unlock the mysteries of consciousness. So, are you ready to go even deeper? Because what you're about to discover might change everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the true nature of reality. Death, the greatest teacher of life. Imagine realizing that death isn't just the end. It's our greatest teacher. That by confronting our mortality, we don't become weaker, we become fearless, awake, and deeply alive. Through the wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we've uncovered something profound. Backhand index pointing right that life and death are not opposites, but part of the same flow. Backhand index pointing right that every moment is a chance to prepare for the great transition. Backhand index pointing right that living fully is not about escaping death, but embracing it. This ancient text shatters our illusions and forces us to ask, what if, instead of fearing the end, you embraced it with courage and curiosity? What if you started seeing every interaction, every choice, every fleeting moment as a sacred and irreplaceable gift? Think about how that would transform your relationships, your priorities, your purpose. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As the Tibetan master Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche once said, Cyclone, the whole thing is based on another way of looking at the psychological picture of ourselves. This means that the Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just about death. It's about how we see ourselves, how we train our minds, and how we navigate every transition in life. Because, in truth, every change we experience is a kind of death and rebirth. Understanding this wisdom means we can move through life's transitions with clarity and purpose, rather than resistance and fear. A journey beyond this video. This exploration of the Bardas is just the beginning. If today's insights resonated with you, and you're ready to go even deeper, ready to question everything you think you know about who you are, then you can't miss our latest video. Cyclone, you are not human. You are consciousness. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we continue unraveling the greatest mysteries of existence. Now, let me ask you, what hidden truths do you want to uncover next? Drop a yes in the comments if you're ready for the next level of discovery. Because this isn't just a video, this is a movement. Together, we're unlocking the wisdom that truly matters. So keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep shining your light. Want to dive deeper into the mysteries of consciousness? Hit subscribe and don't miss what's coming next.